Hey guys, so for this week we are going to be looking at adjective or adverbs. So we've talked about adjectives and how adjectives describe nouns, but we're going to be looking at adverbs. So specifically today we're going to be asking ourselves to find the adverbs that tell how. So our goal for today is I can identify and use adverbs that tell how, and I can use adverbs that tell how correctly in speaking and writing. All right, so how is it that you will be successful? I will identify the verb or the action in the sentence. I will identify the noun in the sentence. I will ask myself, how did the noun do the action? And I will identify the adverbs in the sentence. So we're going to watch this brain pop video. It is the end of our adjective video, so we're going to start in the middle of it and learn a little bit about adverbs before we jump into finding those adverbs.
Moby juggles quickly. What are adverbs? An adverb is a word that describes a verb. Remember, a verb is a word that shows action, like run, read, dance, or eat. The dog barks loudly. The word loudly is an adverb that describes how Señor Maurice barks. The squirrel runs swiftly up the tree. A lot of adverbs end in the suffix ly, like calmly, quietly, slowly, and beautifully. Some adverbs describe where or when an action happens. We have a picnic outside. The word outside is an adverb. Let's have another picnic tomorrow. The word tomorrow is an adverb too. Today, here, there, always, sometimes, and never are all adverbs. Adjectives and adverbs are important because they help readers and listeners make clear pictures in their mind. Well, it's green, small, and alive. No, that's not it. It's long, spiky, and you have to touch it carefully. Give up? It's a cactus.
All right, so as we move forward, we need to remember that words that describe the verbs are called adverbs. Your verbs are the action words, so it tells what the noun is doing. So we're going to be looking at the adverbs that tell how an action happens. Most of the time, the verbs will end in ly, but not always. Or the adverbs will end in ly. The adverbs can come before or after the verbs they describe. And we're going to be thinking about how you want to describe an action. And when we're picking our adverbs, we want to choose the exact word. Ran quickly is different than ran madly. Let's take a look at a few examples and go through the steps of identifying how we find the adverb. So, in the first sentence, the sea turtle swam gracefully over the coral reef. In this sentence, I know that the verb is swam. That's the action. And I know that the noun is going to be the sea turtle. So I'm going to ask myself, how did the sea turtle swim? Well, the sea turtle swam gracefully. Gracefully is the adverb that describes the verb noun or verb swam. Let's look at another sentence. The fish happily darted in and out of the seaweed. So in this sentence, I know that the verb is darted and the noun is fish, so we can ask ourselves, how did the fish dart? In this sentence, the fish darted happily. The adverb is happily. It describes the verb darted. All right, let's try some together. And in this, we are going to find the adverb that tells about the underlined verb in the sentences below. Number 1, the kids read silently. We already know the verb is read. The noun is kids. So we have to ask ourselves, how did the kids read? You should have said silently. Silently is the adverb. Number 2, Jorge easily finished his math test. We know that the verb is finished. The noun is Jorge. And we have to ask ourselves, how did Jorge finish his math test? You should have said easily. Easily is the adverb that describes the verb finished. Number 3, the teacher collected the test papers quickly. The verb is collected. The noun is teacher. So we ask ourselves, how did the teacher collect the test papers? You should have said quickly. Number 4, the kids happily ran out of the classroom for recess. Ran is my verb. I want you to think about what is the noun and ask yourself how they did it. You should have said happily. The kids is the noun. How did the kids run out of the classroom? Happily. Number 5, Flynn and Gray walked home slowly. The verb is walked, so what is the adverb? You should have said slowly. Finn and Gray is the noun, and we have to ask ourselves, how did Flynn and Gray walk home? Slowly is the adverb. All right, let's look at our paragraph for the week, reading stations. Yesterday, Miss Young let our class go to different reading stations. At my first station, I had to read a book quiet to myself and then answer 3 questions about what I read. I liked the book I picked. It was about Spain. I went to the word-making station soon. At the station, there were lots of lettered tiles, and we got to work in groups to make as many words as we could with those tiles. My group made 50 tiles. I had time for one more station. I picked writing. I wrote blank everything I could think of about my favorite cousin. Before I knew it, station time was over and it was time for lunch. We are looking at sentence 2 and we're looking for the change that should be made to sentence 2. So sentence 2 says, at my first station, I had to read a book quiet to myself and then answer 3 questions about what I read. So, should we change quiet to quietist? Should we change quiet to quieter? Should we change quiet to quietly? Or make no change at all? You should have said C, change quiet to quietly. The sentence should say, at my first station, I had to read a book quietly to myself, then answer 3 questions about what I read. The verb in this sentence is read. The noun we are talking about is I. So we have to ask ourselves, how did I read the book? You would say quietly. All right, so let's just go back and review. Words that describe verbs are adverbs. Adverbs can tell how an action happens. Most adverbs that tell how end in ly. Adverbs can come before or after the verbs they describe. So, as you're going forward and looking to find the adverbs, you will need to identify the verb or the action in the sentence, identify the noun in the sentence, ask yourself, how did the noun do the action? And then finally, identify the verb in the sentences.